In the end, it's not about the party. It's about like, all right, I'm really unhappy at work today. Do I have someone that I can talk to about some of my frustrations? Do I have a best friend at work? Also, do I have an open relationship with my superior or with even my executive team where I feel like I can go in and be like, hey, listen, I'm having some frustrations. This is how I'm feeling. Am I going to get a listening ear? Am I going to get some help? Like, who do I really feel comfortable connecting with on some of those really bad days, you know? And that's the thing, like each company will have their positives and their negatives.
Hey there, dental economist. If you're a dentist owner or a leader within a dental business thinking about growing production, case acceptance, patient and staff satisfaction, positive outcomes, and everything else that comes with running a dental business, then you're a dental economist, and you've come to the right place. Welcome to the Dental Economist Show. We're meeting at the intersection of profit and purpose as I sit down with dental leaders who share their stories about dentistry, business, and growth. Welcome back to the Dental Economist Show with me, Mike Huffaker. Before we dive in, a quick request: if you enjoy the show, please like, subscribe, leave a review. Your support helps us reach more dental professionals and bring you the insights that matter the most. So today, I am very excited to welcome Priyanki Amroliwala, a seasoned leader in talent acquisition and the senior manager of talent acquisition at 42 North Dental. With over 15 years of experience, Priyanki has played a pivotal role in recruiting top dental professionals, specializing in doctor and specialist placements across more than 109 practices in the New England, Northeast, and Midwest regions. Today, we're going to explore the biggest challenges and opportunities in hiring for DSOs, how to build a winning talent strategy, and the future of recruiting in dentistry. So, with all that being said, Priyanki, great to have you on the show. How are you doing today?
Mike, thank you so much for having me. I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I am doing very well. Looking forward to having this conversation. I've not had too many conversations with talent acquisition specialists and leaders inside the DSO space.
It's the number one most complained about, also talked about topic in a dental practice, the staff. Yes.
100%. And it comes up all the time with every DSO leader. And so I'll be really curious to kind of get your insights and see how you're navigating this market. You know, look, you've been doing this for what, 15 years now?
More than that, but yes, minimum, yes.
More than that. Okay. How many years have you been doing it?
I lose track. I think I want to say around at least 20, about there, or not 20, just shy of 20.
What drew you to recruiting and what's kept you passionate about this work?
All right, good question. So number one, I have a lot of energy, in case you can't tell. So the energy helps a lot in the recruitment process, just because recruitment is something that you will get lots of rejections, especially in the dental industry, especially with the crazy quote unquote war on talent that we have and everything else that's happening. So I would say the biggest thing for me is I stick with recruitment because my personality is a very resilient personality. Rejections don't bother me. In fact, the rejections that I get just bring me all the more like stronger and better for the next one, if that makes sense. So that's kind of why I like it. I love the challenge that recruitment like places or gives to me. I feel like a lot of other careers don't provide that. At least that's how I feel. And then on top of that, you said what brought me into recruitment. I'll share a cool story. So when I was in college, I was actually a marketing major. I was a business major. My minor was marketing. And I remember just going to a lot of career fairs while I was in school to get internships. And I would go from booth to booth to booth, like recruiter to recruiter to recruiter. And I just thought they had a cool job. So I remember they would try to talk to me about like these marketing internships and these other different things. And I remember just looking at them and I'm like, oh yeah, that's cool. But can you tell me how to get to your job? Like, how do I do your job? Literally, I would say that. So I would go from career fair to career fair to career fair. And I would ask all the recruiters how to get to their job. And then finally, I remember like at the third one of the people, like one of the heads of talent was like, you know what? I'm glad you reached out to me. I have an opening for you in the next 30 days. Are you interested? I said, yeah. She's like, follow up with me. This is what you're going to do. I went home, I did exactly what she asked me to do, and then I got my first recruitment job. That was in technical recruitment. And then from there, I kind of switched to healthcare. And then, if you know healthcare, I used to recruit for nurses and physicians. If you know healthcare, essentially, that will translate very well into dental. They're all licensed professionals. They're all extremely hard to find, different shifts, lots of different personalities, especially in the dental world. So, and I've been at 42 North Dental now for a decade. So this is my first job in dentistry. And here I am still with the organization 10 years later.
Wow, that's awesome. So what positions are you typically looking to recruit for?
So we actually have a whole team set up. I mean, we're staffing all the practices. We have 100 plus practices in about 9 different states, anywhere from Maine to Michigan. We're technically a Boston-based organization. So our team literally looks for positions at all across, I guess, everything in a dental practice, from front desk to dental assistant to hygienists and then to doctors and specialists. So essentially my role in the organization is to head up all of the doctor recruitment for the organization. So all the doctor recruitment roles on my plate. Yes.
So you head up all doctor recruiting. You just mentioned that, there is a lot of personalities. What are some of the biggest challenges that you face in finding the best talent for your dental practices? And how do you overcome those challenges?
All right. I'll probably break it down to 3 different categories. Okay.
Yeah.
Number one is, in general, doctors and specialists, hygienists, even assistants, all the licensed professionals, they're extremely hard to find. They are. And there are specific areas in the country where they're more urban areas, so you might have talent more readily available. But the fact of the matter is, when you're at an organization like 42 North Dental, we have practices that are in more urban/suburban areas, but then we also have them in more rural areas. So challenge number one is to always find talent in the rural areas. They are extremely hard to find, be it a doctor, be it a specialist, be it a hygienist, any of these positions, even assistants, they are extremely hard to find in rural areas. Most people that come out of dental school, most of the dental schools are technically in big cities. So I'll give you an example. We're a Boston-based organization, right? So we have 3 major dental schools. We are very lucky. We have 3 major dental schools in our backyard. So we have Harvard, we have BU, we have Tufts. Then 2 hours down, 2 hours into Maine, we're in Portland, Maine, we have UNE. We even have UConn, NYU. We have at least 5 or 6 major dental schools, all within a 3 to 4 hour commute from us, specifically Boston. But the thing is, most of the people that go into these schools, like a Boston University or a Tufts, a lot of the students are from Florida or California, or they're from Texas. So they typically will go back to where their family is from, rightfully so. And then you still have a good chunk, though, that are yeah, I'm not originally from Boston, but I fell in love with the city in the past 4 years, so I'm going to stay here. But the thing is, they stay in Boston. They don't go to a Maine. They don't go to New Hampshire or Connecticut. They want to stay in and around the city. So the thing is, you're dealing with the millennials and the Gen X and people that really care about lifestyle. So even though we can drill it in their brains that they can make 3 times the amount of money, sometimes 4 times the amount of money at a rural area, it just doesn't motivate them. Money just doesn't motivate them. They're really no, I want to stick with me being in the city, and it's okay. I don't want to buy a car. I just want to Uber it to my practice, and I just want to work certain hours and be home. And that's okay if I don't make the money that I need to make or build my skill. So we're dealing with a different generation of dentists that are coming out that really prioritize a lot more of their self-care and their mental health, which is great. And they don't want to make those lifestyle changes, So that is a struggle to really find talent in the rural areas.
So that's interesting. In the rural areas, you're actually saying that earning potential can be significantly larger.
At least 3 times.
Yeah. And why is that?
They're just underserved areas. They are just underserved areas. For instance, we have practices in New Hampshire get to see at least 100 plus new patients a month with very little marketing budgets and very little marketing efforts. There are patients in underserved areas that are willing to drive over an hour away to go and see their dentist. And Mike, you better believe that if they're driving over an hour away to see the dentist, there's work that needs to be done and they're willing to pay for it. There's not enough dentists in those specific rural areas, and there's a massive need. The patients are there. The patients are willing to spend the money. The patients are willing to take time off of work and go see the dentist, like who was pretty much practicing over an hour away to make that happen. So there is a huge, huge need. It's an underserved area, and there's just not enough doctors, clearly.
Actually, a little surprised. I would think that some folks would have like this romanticized notion of moving out to the small town, hanging your shingle, becoming a pillar of the community. I feel like maybe this is like a Reese Witherspoon movie or something that I'm explaining that actually did happen. But it doesn't have the same appeal with the generation today, huh?
It doesn't. It's hard. It's a different generation these days. And then, it's not like we don't. We do find talent. We do. We still are able to staff our practices. It just means a lot of hustling on mine and my team's part. There's a lot of hustling that happens. There's a lot that goes behind the scenes to hire these doctors. And even in our Boston area, again, what I had said was finding a doctor in general is extremely hard. So be it even Boston or be it even New Hampshire or Maine or Connecticut or whatever the case is, they're all extremely hard. But having said that, it is possible. You just have to think outside the box and think really creatively when it comes to hiring. You're not going to get everything is what I like to tell my people. Back to what I was saying, you asked about some of the challenges. I said one challenge is rural, but the second challenge that I want to talk about is it's internally. Some of the challenges are like, and I see this in not just at 42 North, like I see it with a lot of other dental support organizations. I work very closely in the industry with a lot of other HR leaders and CEOs and people that have the same struggle in staffing.
Give you a presentation for show.
Yeah, but the point is like sometimes these companies shoot themselves in the foot. Like, all right, let's just say we have Dr. Mike Huffaker. He's a great dentist and he wants to come on board in our Lebanon, New Hampshire practice. So the thing is, somehow operationally, people will sometimes move too slow. So they're not moving quick enough. They're, and it's like they know that they need a doctor, but they're so tied up with like other things that are happening. It's not a knock on anyone. It's not a knock on like anyone not doing their job or whatever the case is, but they're just tied up. Like you have these operations people that are going from practice A to practice B to practice C to like put out fires. They're literally putting out fires. They're firefighters. So even though this is a fire, it doesn't necessarily get extinguished as fast as like something else that might be more problematic during that day. So a lot of the DSOs have trouble staffing, not because of a lack of talent, but it's also just because of a lack of, I guess, I would say priorities or a lack of time on their team to make things happen super quickly. So someone like yourself, though, the thing is, because there is a quote unquote war on talent, someone like yourself, when you apply for a job, you're not just applying to 42 North Dental, right? I wish that was the case, but you're not just mine. You're like, let's just say you interview, like you applied to a minimum of 5 jobs all in that area. So then it becomes whoever is going to contact Dr. Huffaker faster is who's going to take him first, right? It becomes a race. So if you apply to 5 jobs, the cool thing is you're in need. All 5 jobs are going to call you. Like all 5 employers are going to call you. So now it's 42 North as one of the employers versus 4 more. So now you have 5 jobs in your hand. You've got 5 conversations going. So now it's going to be who's going to pay more, who's going to get you in quicker. And then in the end, it's not even about pay. In the end, it's about who's going to give you what you're looking for. So it's not always, I talk to a lot of CEOs and people that are like, well, how do you hire so many doctors or how do you do what you're doing? Well, it's all about like how you listen to what the doctor wants or what the candidate wants. And when I say doctor, this goes the same thing for a PCR, same thing for a hygienist, same thing for like a dental assistant, whatever the case is. They're all equal and important positions. And it's all the same. It's all about how you conversate with a Dr. Huffaker. Like you ask him questions based on what you're looking for. But having said that, ask him questions about what he's looking for. So if they ask you questions like, hey, Mike, what are your three most important things? You might say, well, I really want mentorship. And then I want high end technology. And then I want awesome benefits. Like your top threes were never even compensation. So a lot of people are like, well, I can't compensate this, that's not fair. I just can't afford it. That's fine. A lot of things that these doctors are asking for, or hygienists, or whatever the case is, it doesn't necessarily break the bank. People just have to understand and like acknowledge what they're looking for, and then like deliver accordingly. So it's essentially sales. Like what I'm in, like we're all in sales. Like talent acquisition professionals are hardcore sales position. That's what it is. But essentially, when you're in sales, you can't just sell the opportunity. If you're truly a good salesperson, you're going to build a really good rapport with that one candidate or that one prospect that you have. And how do you do that? Again, it's not through selling your opportunity. It's through listening to to what their needs are and what they really need. And I know you're nodding your head because you're also in sales, right? Like I can sit down and, talk a big game about who we are and what we offer and blah, blah, blah. But like, it's not even about that. It's about like listening to what your needs are, what your priorities are, and what's most important to you. And then from there, come up with a plan as to how I can deliver based on what your most key important action items are. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, and you mentioned something I think that's really important, and it's that is the piece about being decisive. If you find somebody that you think is a great fit, and moving forward quickly. So to kind of dig into that a little bit, who else within the organization is involved in the process when you find a new dentist for a practice? And can there be challenge? Like, how do you get alignment so that when you find who you believe to be the perfect fit, you can move quickly?
Great question, because it adds on to the elongated process that I'm talking about. So that's the issue with DSOs compared to like a private practice. So when back to Dr. Mike Huffaker, I just made you a dentist, right?
I'm in demand. I'm great. I'm very good at dentistry. Yep.
Amazing. So like for you, if you apply to those 5 jobs that I'm talking about, let's just say you apply to 2 DSOs and 3 private practices. Private practices typically just have one private practice owner. So he or she might be the one who posted the job, or their practice manager. They call you in directly. Hey, Mr. Mike, when do you want to come in? Oh, I can come in on Thursday at 6:00. Does that work for you? They'll say yes. And then you come in at Thursday at 6:00. You sit down for an hour, 2 hours, hammer through everything, and then you're done. So when you work for a DSO, though, you have different layers. So this is where it gets complicated, right? So you have so you pretty much have the recruitment professional or the HR professional that's really your first point of contact. Then that person will most probably reach out to like someone on the operations team to get you connected to talk about the practice and like the actual nitty gritties about the job or whatever the case is. From there, they'll reach out to their team in the practice to kind of get that scheduled. So that's already 3 different conversations that we're talking about. That's already 3 versus the one from the private practice. So the one private practice, finish it up in less than a week. The DSO is like struggling. The DSO is going into 2 or 3 weeks. So we're already losing talent just based on that timeline because of the multiple layers that are going through. And including at 42 North, like we have these we have these SLAs, like we have everything in place where we know we're supposed to move fast and we're supposed to do things in specific times. But the fact of the matter is, it still takes time. And it's not a 42 North thing. It's a DSO thing. We're all just, again, our operations team is just trying to put out fires, and then things slip through the cracks, and it just takes time. And then there you have Mr. Mike, who has already 3 other offers that we haven't even put out for him yet.
So as somebody that specializes in talent acquisition, at the front end of the engagement with a potential candidate, is that something that you have to make sure that you address and say, listen, like here's what our process looks like. Here's the folks that will be involved in making this decision, so that when I'm getting my 2 or 3 offices from private practices, I'm like, yeah, but remember, Priyanki said that it was going to take a little bit, but here's also the benefit that I'd be getting by waiting for that particular offer. Is that kind of part of the process?
It's a conversation that does happen in the beginning. Technically, it's nice to like lay out the process, but in the end, it's still a process. And, it doesn't matter for Mr. Mike, who already has 3 other offers and they're really awesome offers. You would wait if you felt like, oh, well, I was okay with practice A. Practice B didn't really win me over, and practice C was meh. Then you would patiently wait for, the DSO or whatever the case is. But having said that, you still already had 3 other offers. So you can quickly sign with the 3 other offers that you have. And again, I'm not saying that every DSO is like this, but most of them are like this. There's a long, elongated process. And they're, even though they're the ones who want to hire the talent, they're the ones who probably take the longest amount of time to hire the talent.
So you mentioned a few things that are important during the recruitment process to the candidates, whether that's location, whether it's like what type of modern tools and technologies they might have available to them. Do people care about culture, and like how do they talk about culture? What does that mean to them? What is that definition from your perspective?
Yeah, let's talk about culture. Culture is obviously most important. And culture is such a buzzword these days. So people want to talk about culture, right? It's cool. So yeah, culture in a DSO comes straight from the corporate office. Like it really does. Like, we can, and great, like and the thing is, it comes from here. And then of course it trickles down into all the practices, right? And I'm not saying that, like the practices can't have their own culture. They obviously do. And there's like a practice leader in each practice that kind of sets that precedent. But the fact of the matter is, it does come out from our headquarters. I would like to say that at 42 North, I am a little biased. I'm a little biased, but we obviously have a great culture. We have a great CEO. I personally work with him for about 10 years. He's been with the organization for, I think, about 12 years or so. So I think he started maybe just about a year or two before I did, but I've been working very closely with him. His name is Jeff Ligabell. He's absolutely amazing. And, it starts from him. Like someone like him, he is very down to earth. He's very approachable. He's super kind, very genuine. And it starts from there. We have an amazing chief people officer. We have like a great executive team that works very well together to ensure that we have a super positive culture. And then from there, it kind of like trickles down to the rest of the corporate team. And then from there, like it's all about how you communicate those initiatives and whatever that positive feeling is to your teams. So that only happens because we have regional managers that are responsible for, being that boots on the ground person to like be that liaison between the corporate office and the practices. So that helps. And then on top of that, we have pretty much what we call quarterly regional meetings. So the quarterly regional meetings is where our doctors, like our lead doctors, and then our managers, our practice managers will show up to these meetings where we just talk about like any changes that are happening, any updates. And then we just kind of keep it as an open discussion, So I realized like the more that you're able to keep an approachable, open culture, as I had mentioned, like that trickles down directly from our CEO. He makes himself approachable to like our practice managers, to everyone, right? So if you have that approachable culture, like in that like open conversation, that goes a long way. People like, I've noticed like there's Aspen and there's Heartland and there's all these companies that are like, oh yeah, culture should be all fun and we're just partying all the time. And that's all cool. That's great. Like, I love all the website pictures and it looks like it's a great party and I love it. But like in the end, it's not about the party. It's about like, all right, I'm really unhappy at work today. Do I have someone that I can talk to about some of my frustrations? Do I have like a best friend at work? Also, do I have an open relationship with my superior or with like even my executive team where I feel like I can go in and be like, hey, listen, I'm having some frustrations. This is how I'm feeling. Am I going to get a listening ear? Am I going to get some help? Like, who do I really feel comfortable connecting with on some of those really bad days, And that's the thing, like each company will have their positives and their negatives. And even the culture piece, like, it's not about breaking the bank. I'm all about saving money, Mike. Okay. So it's not about breaking the bank. Like you don't need to go and do this crazy holiday outing if you can't afford it. Like times are tough right now. The dental economy is down. The economy is down. it's trying times. So you don't need to break the bank to do all these things. You just need to have like an open culture. And the open culture comes from welcoming those conversations and having ongoing meetings and ongoing conversations with all your team so that they feel like they're really welcomed and valued and they feel like they can talk to people if there's ever an issue.
Well, I love what you said about how it starts from top down. And yeah, I mean, culture is a buzzword, but it is super important. And, one of the things that we think about at Planet DDS and part of how I think about it, also coming from top down and coming from my boss, Eric, is it's a low ego culture. Like and you said it, humble, down to earth makes a really big difference when people feel like they can approach anyone within the organization to talk about anything, because then you can be heard. And that's so valuable.
You just said it. I always make a joke like after I started 42 North Dental, I threw my ego out the door. My ego's gone. I have no ego left anymore, but go ahead.
It's a great way to approach things if you can. So easier said than done. For most people, an ego always rears its ugly head every now and then when you don't want it to. But yeah, it's important. I'd be curious, and maybe this is one of the answers, but you've spoken to so many dentists. We're in an environment where where it's, I don't want to say easy to find work for certain positions, but certainly there's a need out there for many of these roles, which would make it people in demand. What are the red flags when you're talking to somebody, and what are the green flags? Like, it's not just, hey, I have a degree in dentistry and I'm a dentist and now you're going to hire me no matter what. There's got to be times when you're looking at it going like, hey, even though that, you're applying to 5 places, like you can't work here. Like, what are some of the things that when you're evaluating talent that are the pluses and the minuses that you see?
Great question. I had one of the worst conversations just last night. Just last night. So yeah, it was a pretty bad conversation. And I had to tell my team, guys, if we have a dark practice, we have a dark practice. We can't hire this person. So it's simple. Like, it's not rocket science. Like, either you're kind or you're not kind. Either you're open-minded or you're not open-minded. Either you're flexible or you're not flexible, So the way that I see it is a two-way street. You're absolutely right. Am I on the end where I need to hire? Yeah. But like I said, just last night, it's okay to say no. I texted my team. I asked my colleague to call me. I was like, there's no way we can accept this person into our practice. Like, one red flag was the person that I was, interviewing were saying negative things about the current doctor that's there, had said that, like multiple times in a conversation. It's okay to just say maybe once or twice, but it was like multiple times in a very derogatory manner. Also, they said negative things about the organization throughout the conversation. And I'm like, listen, it's great that I'm talking to you and you can refer to me. And from what I understand, you're looking for a job, but are you sure you want to come and work for us? Because it's still the same company, So someone who is just really negative, I won't do it. I'll keep my practice dark if I need to. We'll have to shuffle around doctors and ask our internal doctors to pick up time. There are just some times where you have to draw a limit and you can't have a toxic culture. You can't hire a toxic doctor because these practices, the patients deserve more. I don't care if it's a private practice, if it's a DSO. I talk to a lot of people that are like, well, I don't want to work for a DSO, but I'm like, but the patients are the same. The patients don't know. Patients are patients, right? We're all here we all have the same goal, whether it's a private practice, whether it's a DSO, doesn't matter. We're here to essentially take really good care of our patients. So our patients deserve better. They don't deserve any negative doctors and doctors that are already complaining during the interview process, because that to me is a red flag. If you're complaining during our first conversation, I can't imagine what it's going to get like later when I'm working with you. And I can't imagine, do you just hide that from your patients? I feel like patients know, so we won't do that. We're all about, it's okay if I need to hire less doctors, but my point is to hire quality doctors. And I will say that again, it's okay to hire less doctors, but my point is to hire quality doctors. I would much rather hire one quality doctor a month versus 20 not so good doctors a month.
What is your best pitch for why somebody should work for a DSO? Because there is that perception in the marketplace that some like I'm going to lose autonomy or I don't have this. And like, I view things a little bit differently. I see the innovation that DSOs really are driving, that a lot of independent practices just aren't even capable of keeping up with what is actually available out there and at your fingertips because you are so busy just running your practice, right? And DSOs have people whose job is to make sure that you're doing really cool stuff. So I'm just curious. I know, well, there's my pitch, I guess, but what are your pitch with a clinician and a doctor as to why they should think differently about working with a DSO?
Absolutely. I mean, you just said it, like, we pretty much have the manpower to support every single department. I mean, I had to say that again. Like, we have the manpower to support every single department. So be it IT, be it technology. And when I say technology now, I'm talking about I'm talking about like dental technology, be it your software, be it like an iTero scanner or CBCT scanner. Like, we have a whole department that goes behind all the technology that's implemented in a practice. We have a whole department behind, hey, listen, my software is not working. I need some help. We have someone to help you with that. We have someone that helps with billing. We have someone that does all the collection. So, like, you just get paid. All we expect that you do is to come in and be a great dentist, like, take care of the patients. That's what we care about, right? So come in, do the dentistry. We have someone to help you with marketing. You don't have a dental assistant? Great. Someone from my team can really support you and help you find a dental assistant. Like, all right, you don't have a front desk person? Someone from my team can help you find a front desk person. So we literally are well equipped for everything. Versus when you're at a private practice, it's all you. It's all you, buddy. So, and when I say it's all you, like, the thing is, even if you're an associate at a private practice, you're like, well, I'm not the owner of the practice. Well, yeah, you're not the owner of the practice, but you are the owner of the schedule. You are the owner of what's going to happen in the next few hours. So whether you like it or not, you're going to have to roll up your sleeves and help that doctor, owner, doctor, whomever it is, get through that day. So be it something fails for your software, be it technology not working, be it schedule completely flakes, anything in it is, be it, your dental assistant walks out on you, because that happens. Like, anything and everything, the associate does have to step up. Like, that's an expectation. Like, you think that they're hiring an associate just so that, like, you just sit there and, like, see patients? They care about that. But then when all else fails, you do have to show up and you do have to help the owner with whatever is happening. And that includes your schedule and flaking out that day because you just don't have the support. So a DSO literally has a support at every single level that a private practice might not have. And though there's nothing wrong with it either way, the fact of the matter is we're well equipped to take care of the doctors and take care of the patients. So they're doing what they do best. The doctors want to practice dentistry. That's what we're backing them up on.
Awesome. And speaking of priorities, I know that you have something else that you need to get to here. So I'll be conscious of your time. But last question for you, like, where do you go to learn? Any books, podcasts? Like, how do you stay up to speed on, what you're doing career-wise and how you can support your efforts from a talent acquisition perspective?
Good question. So I keep up, I do a lot of these podcasts and webinars. We were just talking about that earlier, right? So I try my best to kind of keep up with industry trends by listening to some of these podcasts, trying to attend these webinars. I go to a lot of industry conferences. All of those things help. I'm very well networked, so I know a lot of people in the DSO industry. So it's nice to kind of keep up with colleagues. Even if I go to like a career fair at BU, I know some of the recruiters that are, there from other companies. So always staying in touch with them and learning through them and asking them questions like, hey, listen, I'm having so much trouble finding an endodontist. How do you find an endodontist? Tell me what you're doing. How are you paying this endodontist? Because I feel like maybe we're not doing this right. So just like asking questions, staying connected, going to industry conferences, that helps a lot. Being a part of some of these podcasts, listening to these podcasts, all of these things help. And it helps me stay connected and really learn. And I would encourage anyone, like, be it a dentist, be it an HR professional, someone in marketing. People always think, well, recruitment's not my department, so I don't need to be a part of it. But the funny thing is, all the people who are not part of recruitment that sit through some of my panels and my podcasts that I'm a part of, they approach me afterwards and they're like, oh my gosh, even though I'm not in this is so helpful. This is going to help me work with my clients. This is going to help me work with my patients. This is going to help me work with so many different things. And you're so right. So even though you might think like, all right, this is not my forte, it ends up being your forte. Like all these things do help and it's all educational.
Priyanki, thank you so much for joining. Really appreciated the conversation.
Thank you.
The Dental Economist Show is brought to you by Planet DDS, home of Dental OS. To find out more about how cloud-based dental software by Planet DDS helps unleash dentists and their staff to focus on patient care, visit www.planetdds.com. Stay tuned for upcoming episodes by following wherever you listen to podcasts. And thank you for listening.